On 14 September 1914, just a few feet from where we are standing today, where we are met today, in the chambers, Lieutenant Governor George W. Brown delivered a somber speech from the throne. Absent was the pomp and the ceremony. Very present was the heavy weight of the moment here and around the world. This was the First World War. The legislative session opened. The Regina leader reported, quote, "At a time of the greatest trial which the empire has ever known." This morning, we're gathered to recognize those who gave their lives in that terrible war a century ago. And we remember, too, those who served and returned and their families forever changed by the experience. We come together, I expect, with a mixture of awe and of gratitude, and I would hope this morning with a deep sense of obligation to remembrance. For the First World War had a profound impact on our country, but most assuredly on our province. It touched virtually every family in Saskatchewan. And 100 years on, we are still counting the losses. On Monday, another 1,200 names added to the Saskatchewan Honor Roll at the War Memorial outside this building. 1,200 souls with Saskatchewan ties who heretofore have gone unrecognized for their sacrifice. And so then there will be a total of 6,400 names on that memorial. 6,400 out of a population of 650,000 in 1916. Imagine the magnitude of losing 11,000 of our young people today in 2014. We often say when we're confronted with numbers so large that they are unimaginable. But today we must try to imagine. That's our duty, that's our obligation. For the Canadians who lost their lives, for the Canadians who were injured and returned, for their families. A woman wrote of her sorrow after hearing her fiancé had died in battle. She wrote, "I feel as though my heart would break. He was all the world to me. I have never given a thought to another man. Oh, how dearly I loved my boy. I cannot realize that I shall never see his bonny face again, and that he will never hold me in his arms again and call me his little sweetheart. I feel as though life is worth nothing to me now." End quote. It is a sad missive drawn from the history of that First World War, from the archives, which, by the way, as we know, is how we know now the First World War. All those who served and survived have passed on. And as the years go by, ladies and gentlemen, there is a real risk that our memories would fade. We must not let that happen. We cannot let that happen. Because there are some memories so hallowed, so sacred, that we are called upon to preserve them in perpetuity. This is our responsibility. This is our solemn obligation to those who on our behalf experienced such hardship and sacrificed so much. And so today it is in this spirit of remembrance and gratitude that we honor the 28th Battalion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force with the return of the battalion's battle colors. These honored colors will be on display in the Legislative Building appropriately, symmetrically for the next 4 years. The 28th Battalion was made up of men from across our province who fought throughout the war at places like Mount Sorrel, where at 2 p.m. on 6th of June 1916, 168 members of the 28th were killed in an instant when the enemy exploded 4 large mines under the Canadian trenches. They were among the more than 900 members of the unit who died during that war. The massive attack was followed quickly by the enemy. 5 times the Germans rushed the Canadian lines, and 5 times the battered 28th alongside the 31st Battalion stood their ground and drove the enemy back. It is their colors that we are entrusted with this morning here at the Legislative Building, the brave and determined boys of Mount Sorrel. These are not timid colors, ladies and gentlemen. They are not pastel, they are not pallid, They are not faded. These are the brightest of colors. They are the colors of courage and of valor and of sacrifice. They are the very colors of our freedom. And we will display them here with pride that is due them, with the honor that is due them, and with the reverence that is due them. For they are also the colors of remembrance. Morning.